knowing this first, that there shall come in the last days scoffers walking after their own lust. Scoffers, people scoffing at the idea that Christ is coming again. You certainly don't believe that.
The second coming is a failure. First off, it didn't happen, and it's not going to happen. It's a false, failed prophecy.
They don't want to be disturbed in all the good times they're having and all the materialism and everything they're getting here. So they scoff at the idea that Christ is coming and the world's going to be judged.
Does God want Christians to understand Bible prophecy? Most Christians find themselves feeling confused or unsure when it comes to Bible prophecy. Many believe God's prophetic words are hidden mysteries they are not meant to understand, especially when it comes to the time of Christ's return. If that were true, why would God give us His prophetic word and tell us to search it out for understanding? It is the glory of God to conceal a thing, but the honor of kings to search out a matter. Proverbs 25:2. The secret things belong unto the Lord our God, but those things which are revealed belong unto us and to our children forever, that we may do all the words of this law. Deuteronomy 29:29. The book of Revelation is so named for good reason. God begins this prophetic book with these words: the revelation of Jesus Christ, which God gave unto him, to show unto his servants things which must shortly come to pass. And he sent and signified it by his angel unto his servant John. Revelation 1:1. The Bible commands us to study, to show thyself approved unto God, a workman that needeth not to be ashamed, rightly dividing the word of truth. 2 Timothy 2:15. All Scripture is given by inspiration of God, and is profitable for doctrine, for reproof, for correction, for instruction in righteousness, that the man of God may be perfect, thoroughly furnished unto all good works. 2 Timothy 3:16 and 17. Jesus gave this rebuke for not discerning the time. And when ye see the south wind blow, ye say, there will be heat, and it cometh to pass. Ye hypocrites, ye can discern the face of the sky and of the earth, but how is it that ye do not discern this time? Luke 12:55 and 56. Does God want us to discern the time of prophetic events? Surely the Lord God will do nothing, but he revealeth his secrets unto his servants the prophets. Amos 3:7. We have a more sure word of prophecy, whereunto ye do well that ye take heed, as unto a light that shineth in a dark place, until the day dawn, and the day star arise in your hearts. Knowing this first, that no prophecy of the Scripture is of any private interpretation. The prophets came not of old by the will of man, but holy men of God spake as they were moved by the Holy Ghost. 2 Peter 1:19-21. But of the times and seasons, brethren, ye have no need that I write unto you. For yourselves know perfectly that the day of the Lord so cometh as a thief in the night. For when they shall say peace and safety, then sudden destruction cometh on them, as travail upon a woman with child, and they shall not escape. But ye, brethren, are not in darkness, that that day should overtake you as a thief. Ye are all children of light, and the children of the day. We are not of the night, nor of darkness. Therefore let us not sleep, as do others, but let us watch, and be sober. For they that sleep, sleep in the night, and they that be drunken, are drunken in the night. 1 Thessalonians 5:1-7. Does God want us to be in darkness about the coming of the Lord, so that it overtakes us as a thief? Or does God want us to wake up? God is not a man that he should lie, neither the Son of man that he should repent. Hath he said, and shall he not do it? Or hath he spoken, and shall he not make it good? Numbers 23:19. God obviously wants Christians to understand Bible prophecy. To understand God's prophetic timeline, we must understand God's calendar. God began revealing his calendar at creation. God completed creation in 6 literal 24-hour days, because God said, and the evening and the morning constituted each day of creation. This is the reason each new Hebrew day begins in the evening, at the close of the preceding day. God started his work of creation in darkness at the beginning of the first day of creation week. This means that God began creation on Sunday, the first day of the week. The Bible says God completed creation in 6 days: Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. But God rested the 7th day. God hallowed the Sabbath because it was the day of God's rest. This is why weeks have 7 days. For in 6 days the Lord made heaven and earth, the sea, and all that in them is, and rested the 7th day. Wherefore the Lord blessed the Sabbath day, and hallowed it. Exodus 20:11. God instructs us to remember the things he did long ago. He is God, and being God, he declares or tells us what the end will be from understanding the beginning. In other words, he shows prophetic things that are not yet done from the things of ancient times. Remember the former things of old, for I am God, and there is none else. I am God, and there is none like me, declaring the end from the beginning, and from ancient times the things that are not yet done, saying, My counsel shall stand, and I will do all my pleasure. Isaiah 46:9 and 10. As we ponder God's ancient times, we're naturally drawn to consider Creation Week. God created a 7-day week for mankind, consisting of 24-hour days. But one of God's days is like 1,000 years. But, beloved, be not ignorant of this one thing, that one day is with the Lord as 1,000 years, and 1,000 years as one day. 2 Peter 3:8. Genealogy records of the Bible are specific, giving the time a person is born, the time they have children, to the time they die. This detail gives us important insight into the historical timeline of the Bible. For example, the Bible says God created Adam on Friday, the 6th day of creation. It also tells us Adam was 130 years old when he begat Seth, and then Adam lived to be 930 years old and died. Seth was 105 when he begat Enos, and then Seth lived to be 912 years old and died. And so on it goes. These records show the Great Flood happened 1,657 years after creation, and that Abraham was conceived in 1947 BC, and so on. So we're able to understand God created the world 6,000 years ago. We are at the end of God's 6th 1,000-year days, and we are about to enter God's Sabbath, his 7th 1,000-year day. This period of time is called the millennial reign of Christ. It follows a 7-year period called the tribulation period. This is one of the ways we know we are living in the end times. God also established the celestial bodies in outer space as time indicators of his grand calendar. And God said, Let there be lights in the firmament of the heaven, to divide the day from the night, and let them be for signs, and for seasons, and for days and years. Genesis 1:14. And God made 2 great lights, the greater light to rule the day, and the lesser light to rule the night. He made the stars also. Genesis 1:16. He appointed the moon for seasons. The sun knoweth his going down. Psalms 104:19. God created the sun, moon, and stars for signs and for seasons and for days and years. With these and God's other time indicators, we can know the signs of the times, we can know the seasons, and we can know the days and years. The Hebrew calendar is based on 3 things. 1. The rotation of the earth on its axis to mark days. From the time of creation, God's days begin in the evening. 2. The phases of the moon as it orbits around the earth determines God's months. The first crescent following a new moon marks the first day of each month. 3. Years are roughly marked by the orbit of the Earth around the Sun in 12 lunar months. Since the Earth doesn't complete its orbit around the Sun in 12 lunar months, Hebrew years are adjusted by adding an extra 13th month into some of the years. This additional month is called Adar 1. It's added into the 3rd, 6th, 8th, 11th, 14th, 17th, and 19th years of a 19-year cycle. Adding this month keeps Passover in the spring,